Yo, what is up, guys? Your boy Sales here. So today I'm going to be talking about all of the Lunalight cards and support cards that go with the Lunalight archetype, and I'm going to be discussing if they're relevant or not, how good are they in the decks, etc., etc. So let's get started. The first card I want to talk about is Black Sheep. Black Sheep is very important. It searches poly, it gets a card from your graveyard to your hand, and it gets back your fusion materials. So this card is important. It's always a 3 of. You want to play it. The next card I want to talk about is Blue Cat. Blue Cat is not that important, but it makes OT King much better. So, you would play Blue Cat at least at 1. I don't think it's a 0, and I think it's a little bit important, but not as important as your combo cards. The next card I want to talk about is Chick. This card is your bread and butter, the heart and soul of the deck. So, sending cards from your extra deck to the graveyard so you can Miracle Fusion with Wolf is just too important. And locking down battle phase effects with Chick is really good. And if you do so happen to fuse with it, you can get back Poly from your graveyard to your hand. So Chick is very important. The next card is Lunalight Tiger. With Yellow Martin being a card, like Tiger became like so much better, and reviving cards from the graveyard is obviously really good, especially with Chick's effect being a cost to send a Lunalight from the deck or extra deck to the graveyard. So Tiger is very, very good. I think it's a 2 of, because you don't want to open up too many scales. That's why it conflicts with a lot of hands that don't have Chick or Black Sheep in your hand. You don't have anything to revive from your graveyard. So I think 2 is enough, because you already have stuff like Tenki and Perfume. And getting to this card, all you need is 1, because you're going to be looping it with Yellow Martin. But you want to have a second one in case, maybe a Cosmic Cyclone, or they like destroy it with like, I don't know, like Twin Twisters. So having 2 Tigers is really good. I don't think you need more than that, because when you search it with like Tenki or Perfume. You're gonna have it pretty much all the time. So the next card I want to talk about is Wolf. Wolf is very important with Chick. So you're going to be definitely having 3 copies in your deck, and Miracle Fusion is just so good in this deck, especially with Chick again. That card is just so good. So Wolf is a definite 3 of. Fusing from your graveyard is just too good not to have. The next card I want to talk about is Yellow Martin. Yellow Martin is very strong. Not like being able to like recycle your Tiger, recycle your Wolf back into your hand, especially on this target, so you get more link material on the field. If we do get that Lunalight link, this will be a lot better. But it's already so amazing. And on top of that, when it's sent to the graveyard by card effect, you get a Lunalight spell and trap card from your deck to your hand. So Yellow Mart is super good, and it's a level 4, so you can go into rank 4 plays with Chick, with Blue Cat, with all of your level 4s. So this card is very, very strong. It's a definite 3 of. I don't think you can get away with like 2 of, because this card is just so good. Then Tenki, you run 3. It's a Beast Warrior deck, so you're going to be running 3. The next card, Fusion Substitute. A lot of people don't like Fusion Sub, because, I don't know, like, fusing from the field is not that bad. You're going to have your monsters on the field anyway with, like, Tiger, Perfume, Serena Dance, and all of these other cards to just get your monsters on field. Fusion Sub is just not that bad, and getting that extra doll is just like super important, especially in my build, because I play Dangers. I don't know if you guys play Dangers, but with that being said, you have like Perfume to discard. You have, I believe, does it send monsters? I believe it sends cards. So you can send the Fusion Sub from your hands to graveyard with those cards, and getting that extra draw, as I said before, is just really good. Perfume, definite 3 of. It does way too much in your deck. A Monster Reborn and Searcher is just too good. Lunalight Perfume, this is a card that a lot of people were confused on the CapG video. I'll link it in the description below, but people are like, oh my god, this man's getting 1 Lunalight Fusion. This card is super important. It's really good. The fact is that this card is not a Shaddoll Fusion. As much as I want to say it's a Shaddoll Fusion is it's really good, but let me bring it up. Let me bring it up real quick. Shaddoll Fusion, what it does, it uses all of the fusion materials when your opponent has a extra deck monster on the field. So it's not necessarily a Lunalight, not a Shaddoll Fusion. So it's not that important, and it's searchable by Yellow Martin. So you don't really need two or even three. I think three is overkill. You could probably get away with two, but one is fine for me because, Yellow Martin searches it, and you have a lot of cards that dig deep into your deck. So, Lunalight, Lunalight Fusion is really good. I'm not gonna say that it's bad or that it's like okay, but it's not necessarily needed at like two or three copies, like something like Perfume that's like needed in your first turn hand, or Kaleidoscope Check or something like that. So, Moonlight Fusion is really good. Serena Dance, this card is just, it's really good, and people underrate this card because it's a trap card, but it's like, it's compared to, what should I compare it to? I think it's like the Spiral card. Where's that Spiral Rescue? Yeah, this card is really good because you just get a free special summon from your graveyard, and it's searchable. That is why you play Serena Dance. And like, as much as Master Plan is like really good in the Spiral deck, it's the same thing with like your Lunalight cards being able to search your Serena Dance and get it to the graveyard so you can use the graveyard effect to special summon a Lunalight card. It's the same thing with Rescue. Rescue is so strong. You don't have to play three. I think three is, it might be too much for a pure deck, but for my danger build, I do play three because getting this to the graveyard to get to your chick is just too important. So that is it for this card. The next cards I'm going to talk about is the extra deck cards. They are pretty standard. Cat is not that important. It's a one-of. Leo Dancer you can run at 2 or 3. I think 3 is really good because just having 3 in your extra deck is just it's just really good, especially with Moonlight Fusion being able to, fusion summon, and you don't go completely neg with all of the cards that give you advantage when they're sent to the graveyard. And, Panther Dancer, I think it's a 2 or 3 of, because it is really good to send, and it's also really good for OTK. So, that is it for these. These are really, really good. They have a purpose in the deck, so you need to run it. So the cards that I don't run in my build, and a lot of people are questioning it because they're like, oh, I play this in my deck. Why don't you play this? Blah, blah, blah. Crimson Fox does nothing for your combos. Just like Blue Cat, it does really nothing. I mean, I guess it does make OTK much better, but Blue Cat does that significantly better. And it has a good floating effect when it's, destroyed by card effect or by battle. You get to summon a Lunalight from your deck. So that is really good. Crimson Fox, if its negating effect was better, I would play it at least 1. But giving your opponent 1,000 life points and only being like targeted, if it said if a Lunalight card would be destroyed or targeted on your field, so like if they had Ogre for your Wolf, you can negate it or something like that. That would be really good for Crimson Fox. But like, because that's not a case, I think Crimson Fox is like, it's decent, but you can play it at least 1. But I don't think it's like a 3 of or a 2 of or anything like that. And I don't think it's that important. So Crimson Fox is really good for that. Emerald Bird, a lot of people are like, oh my god, why are you not playing Emerald Bird? Oh my god. Emerald Bird is not that important. And especially when your best normal summon in the deck or your best special summon in the deck is Kaleidoscope Chick. You want to get to this card. You don't want to be special summoning anything else but Kaleidoscope Chick. So Emerald Bird just doesn't have a purpose, just like White Rabbit, because I cut that card a long time ago when Kaleidoscope Chick became, a card. So Emerald Bird just doesn't really have a purpose. I mean, it has a purpose, but it's not necessarily needed. It's a really decent card. Like, being able to send a Lunalight card from your hand to the graveyard, then draw 1 card is really good. And then when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to special summon 1 Lunalight that's banished or in your graveyard, but its effects are negated and it's in defense mode. It's a really good card, but Then again, you don't really need it, and Clutter Chick is just much, much more important. Lunalight Purple Butterfly. Now, this card is a... Again, it just doesn't do anything for your combos. I mean, it does give you 1,000 attack. It was really good in, you know, early Lunalight builds back in 2016, but it's just not cutting it. I guess the spell summon from your hand is really good, but then again, it's not even a level 4. It's a level 3, so you can't make like rank 4 plays and stuff like that. I just don't find any purpose for this card. It's decent, but you probably play it at 1 if you really wanted to. Like, all of these cards right here, you could probably play at 1, but playing it at 2 or 3, it's just not needed. White Rabbit, this card used to be, it's pretty much my favorite Lunalight card. Out of all of these cards, Clutter Chick, White Rabbit, White Rabbit White Rabbit, and probably like Leo Dancer. These 3 are just my favorite cards. White Rabbit, it's, again, like, Clutter Chick is just too important to normal summon in this deck, so White Rabbit doesn't have really a purpose. You could run 1, as I said before, but it just, if we had like a brilliant fusion or something that we have like a double normal summon, maybe I'll play it at 1. I really want to play this card. I do really want to play this card, but you don't really need it because you're normal summoning Clutter Chick most of the time, and it only gets the effect on normal summon. That is bad. And the Spell and Chop card effect to, you know, make sure you don't get like Storming Mirror or something like that. It was okay back in, you know, early builds again, but you have Clutter Chick to nullify Battle Phase's effects, so, you know, White Rabbit doesn't do much at all. So that is it for the Lunalight main deck monsters. Summoner Monk is a really good card, but it just gets hit by Ash too many times. It gets hit by Gamma, gets hit by Ogre. It just, man, if we had a format of just no hand traps, I'd play like Summoner Monk all day. Like, we have infinite impermanence as well. Like, there's just too much that Monk does, and it can get hand trapped to hell, and you just lose too much from it. So that's why I play, you know, no Summoner Monks at all. I mean, if we were back in like 2014 where the only hand traps were like Effect Veiler, then probably. But then again, you could play it, but I just don't want to get ashed or, you know, lose so much advantage. So the next card I want to talk about is Sabre Dancer. This card is it's really decent. It's really decent, but you don't really need to run it. It's really good turn 1. You can like send it to the graveyard with like Clutter Chick or fusion summon with Clutter Chick or something like that. But it's not necessarily needed. Again, a lot of these cards that are in the side deck, you don't need it, but besides like Summoner Monk, because like this card gets hit by Ash too much, or like hand traps or anything, any negation is just, it's just too much. But like Sabre Dancer, you could probably play it, but in my deck it's not that much extra deck space. That's what I'm gonna say. Allora Darkness, now, this is the one I want to focus on the most. Allura Darkness is, it's just not good anymore. You don't see it in, you know, BA because they have Second Light. Second Light. You don't see it in any dark deck really at all anymore besides like maybe Black Wings, because banishing one dark monster from your hand is just really bad in 2018. You want your cards, if you're drawing cards with effect, that means you don't have your combo cards in hand. If you have like a Clutter Chick in your hand or anything in your hand, and you use Allura Darkness and you don't draw into a card that you can banish, and you have to banish one of your key cards in your hand, that's just really bad. And that's why I don't play Allura Darkness. That's why I play Desires, and I'll get to Desires in a bit because a lot of people just don't like Desires, and I can understand it. But then again, if you don't like Desires, you play Allura Darkness. I don't think it's that bad, but as I said before, banishing your key cards from your hand, just, I don't like it. Foolish Burial, it's just not enough space in my deck, but you can play. You do get a search off of Yellow Martin and the Emerald Bird, but the better target is probably Yellow Martin. Then again, just not enough space, and my Dangerous do the Foolish Burial thing better. I would say, because it sends from hand, and Colorado Chick just sends it just sends better. So Fool's Barrel, then again, it's really good, but you don't play it. I mean, you can play it, but I don't play it. Next card, Fusion's Recovery. This card doesn't really have a purpose. Your deck is already really good at getting back your advantage with Yellow Martin and all of these new support cards like Collateral Chicken and stuff like that. So, Fusion Recovery is not necessarily needed anymore. Not at all, because most of the time you're just fusing with Wolf, and that's what I want to say as well. Like Wolf, you're fusing something with Wolf pretty much all the time. So Fusion Recovery is just not necessarily needed. Polymerization, you can play this card as well, but I like the draw with Fusion Substitute. And as I said before, you're not really fusing that much. Besides, maybe if you have a play with like Black Sheep and Clouder Chick, you can like dump a Wolf and then fuse your Chick and your Black Sheep for like Cat Dancer, and then get back your Wolf from Graveyard. That's like the only poly play that I ever do, ever. So you could do that, but poly is just not that needed. And then the last card I want to talk about is Lunalight Reincarnation Dance. Now this card, it's not that bad if you're playing a going first build, and this was back in like 2016. You made like, I would say like maybe if you played like Zodiac Lunalights and you made like a board of like Dryden plus like Evil Storm Nightmare or something like that, and you had this set, this would be good. But this deck is a going second deck, and trap cards, if they don't do anything in graveyard, they're not really that good, or if they don't have a really broken effect. Even though this effect is really good, it's just too slow. I wanted this card to be a spell card, and it just said add up the 2 Lunalight cards from your deck to your hand. You can only use 1 Lunalight Reincarnation Dance once per turn. This card would be super good. But then again, you're not playing a going first deck, so this card is not really needed. So that is it, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this video, this discussion that I wanted to do with Lunalights. I know a lot of people had a lot of questions, so I wanted to answer them in this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video.